Hi there. My name's Ray Jean. Most you don't know me, but for my friends and family, hello. And hello to the rest of you. I hope that you'll get to know me some. If you keep visiting, you'll get to know me. Anyway, I wanted to talk about a few things, and I felt God wanted me to talk about a few things to you. And I'm not used to talking into a camera. This is all weird to me. This is my first video. I hope that you'll listen and maybe enjoy some of the miracles that have been worked in my life. Because I think God wants me to tell people. And the more people I tell, it seems like the more people that are touched. So I feel that I should, tell everybody what happened in my life. So I'm going to start with, um, as I said, my name's Ray Jean. Um, by the time I was 9 years old, we were in a Pentecostal church. Um, my father became my stepfather. He was my dad, to me. Um, uh, my real dad's my dad too, but I mean, he's the one that raised me. Um, and he was the best dad you could ever have. He was Andy Griffith mixed with who I always say Andy Griffith mixed with no, he was just Andy Griffith. I like mixed with a certain preacher, but I don't remember his name on TV. But he's just this wonderful, wonderful person. He would sing to us and pray for us. And I have a dog that wants up. Come on, Riley, come up with me. Come up, say hi. This is Riley. This is my big pug, my big chubby pug. He likes to be right next to me, and he snorts a lot, and he snores a lot, so excuse all of that. But back to my life, he was like Andy Griffith, and then my mother, she was like the mom on Raymond, and she's just a wonderful mom, wonderful cook. You pay attention to mom, you listen to mom. You want to make mom mad. Not that she'd hurt you. You didn't want to make mom mad. It didn't make life easier anyway. So anyway, um, I was brought up with strong faith in God, and one day I was praying, why don't miracles happen anymore? Why don't you do miracles like you used to? And then I started reading some books, and maybe God guided me to them. I don't know. I went to the library. It's back before we had the internet all the time, and especially the internet like this. But I went to the library and I got a book, and I learned, a few things that I could do about my life, but they also showed me, how God can do miracles in my life, how strong He could do those miracles in my life. And all I had to do was have a lot of faith and believe and see it in my head and just pray for it, say thank you, see it in my head as being done. And I did that. My first miracle was, I prayed for this house, and that book told me, you pray for something, you see it. If you're moving somewhere, you want to move somewhere, you say the address. I don't look at the camera a lot. I'm sorry, I'm not used to this. I'm actually having to stare at myself in this thing, and if I use my regular camera, then I'm having to stare at a black square for a while. So it's unusual for me. Um, Again, this is my first video to y'all. So um, uh, it was telling me in that book, you pray for that, that address, and you see it in your head, and you say thank you. Well, there was this apartment that I wanted, and it was at a complex that I lived at before, and the one that I wanted was right below the one I had before. Now, the one I wanted before was on the second floor, and the one I wanted now, of course, is on the first floor. But apparently that one was taken. Somebody already put a deposit on that place, and all she had available was the third floor across the pond from where I used to live. And I would have done that, but I had four kids with lots of groceries and four bicycles and all their toys in and out and up and down, and me having to go up and down with them. Just playing and going to the pool, going, anywhere we had to go was just up and down. I was thinking, so I didn't want that apartment. I prayed for the one on the bottom floor. And I went around and I told everybody when I said I was moving, oh, where are you moving? I gave them my exact address to where I was moving. And I still remember that for some reason, the address. And probably because it was a miracle. But anyway, I got that. I'm not going to say what that address was, of course. Somebody else is living there by now. I don't want to put that out there. But I prayed for that address, and when people would ask me, I would tell them exactly what I wanted. That exact apartment, first floor, blah, blah. And I tell people that somebody else put a deposit on it, but I know God's going to work a miracle. So I get a call, and that apartment, sorry, I got to rub on this dog all the time. He likes my loving, and he's just spoiled rotten. My arm gets too tired from doing it, and he'll scratch at me and bug me if I don't. So anyway, I asked for that apartment, and I get this call from that apartment complex, and they said, did you still want that apartment on the first floor? And I'm like, oh, yeah, definitely. And they're like, well, I've been trying to get a hold of that person that put the deposit on it. I've been trying to get a hold of them for 2 weeks now. So if you want that apartment, it's yours. Praise God. My first miracle. I kept going around saying it was mine. I asked God for it. I seen him give it to me into my hands, and I said thank you for it before I ever got it, because I knew it was good and it was of God. And he says anytime you ask for anything, and you pray for a miracle, as long as it's of good, it's not going to hurt others. Now he don't word it like that. I'm not good at memorizing the Bible, but he said that if I'm just a regular person out here. I don't go to church every Sunday. I was laid up for 17 years, and that's another story. I'm just kidding. That's another miracle. But anyway, I get distracted easily. I got that first miracle, and I got that first floor apartment, and I was very happy. After that, I mean, I've had so many miracles. Back in the years ago, I was like, I've had so many miracles in my life. I'd probably write a book like that of all the miracles he did, and I wish I would have, because now I've got a memory loss due to a brain aneurysm that ruptured in my head, and that was a sad story too. My son was shot and killed on my birthday in 2010, and I had to have a surgery. Um, like within a month after he died. There was a lot of stress going on. I didn't have the funeral right away. It was 3 days before Christmas, so I waited for the funeral until after the holiday, and after both holidays, after New Year's too. So it was a couple weeks after his funeral. Um, my brain ruptured, and this is a crazy miracle too. This is just, I can't, it ruptured. And my husband at that time, he was at his friend's house watching a football game for the first time, watching it with him, and I called him home during it. And I told him, I need to go to the hospital. Something's wrong. My brain don't feel right. Something's wrong. My head don't feel right. It's hurting. It's not my normal headache. And I did deal with a lot. Got deal with a lot of headaches. This wasn't my normal headache. And I asked him to take me to the hospital over the phone. So when he got home, he called me a hypochondriac, and he told me to drive myself, which I was afraid to do at the time, because I think I was afraid that it was exactly what it was, which is a brain aneurysm. But I surely was hoping it wasn't. So I laid there in the bed and propped up to watch TV, but the TV wasn't on at the time. I was praying. I was praying to God to help me, and I mean, I didn't know what else to do. I I don't know. Anyway, the slow breathing. I slowed my breathing way down, and I prayed to God. After a while, I don't know, a couple hours later, I started feeling a little better. And I went on with my life for, I don't know how many more days. And that happened, I guess, right after Billy died, my son Billy. Um, and then the second time it happened, um, I was driving down the road with my husband, and I asked him, one of the times happened like a few times before I got to the hospital, before I decided I should go, before my mom made me go. I'm a grown woman, but anyway, on with my story. I had problems and I needed to go to the hospital, and my mother knew it. She kept on bugging me to go to the hospital, and um, my husband wouldn't take me, and I was scared to drive because of the way I felt. And everybody I knew lived pretty far away. Didn't want to take an emergency squad because I just thought, what if it's just a bad headache? So, my stupidity, I just stayed home from it. And the next time that happened, we were driving down the road, and it wasn't too far from my doctor's office. And I had this weird feeling like I was really, really woozy in the head. And I was like, I think we need to go to my doctor's. And my sister who went there and my best friend went there at the same doctor's office. So he was aware that my son had died. And he was aware that my anxiety level wasn't really good at the time at all. So he had told both of them, to just tell me, come on in, walk on an appointment, and he would see me. And I went in there with my husband at the time, and I remember I was on somas for all the agonizing muscle pain with my back, which is a whole nother story and another miracle. But at this miracle, God was working with me about, I don't know, uh, he just kept healing me again and again. And the way I know this is because by the time I was at the doctor's office, and he wanted to check my sugar level, I had somebody come to check my sugar level. They wanted to give me an extra soma a day, and I remember thinking, are you serious? With everything's going on with me, you're going to give me an extra muscle relaxer? Well, they're in the Xanax family, they said, so I went ahead and I took it. But at the same time, when I thought that, I think it just made my brain just pop. And I was like, I need somebody to hold my hand. I was reaching for my doctor. I was reaching for my husband. I said, I feel like I'm going to faint. I said, I feel like somebody, like if my son was shot in the head, my son was shot and killed. He was shot, though, underneath his arms. When he's going like this, he was shot. So anyway, I was like, if my son would have been shot in the head, I think I would have thought this was some kind of sympathy pain, and that's what I was telling him. It felt like I was shot in the head, like boom. It didn't make my head move, but inside, that's what it felt like. And all of a sudden, all this pain. But he went in the other room, brought somebody back to check my sugar level. After that person left the room, with whatever test, I can't remember, blood test or something. By the time she came back in, I was blind, in this one eye, and all I could see was the light at the top of the room, and this side. It just went kind of like this. This is all I could see. The light part in between my fingers, this thin of the room, I could see that. Everything else above it, below it, everything was pure black. I was blind, and he was wanting to send me to the eye doctor over at the hospital, which was nearby. And I'm like, no, I have a really good eye doctor. I'll schedule an appointment with my eye doctor. And I was like, when my son's dad died, he went blind. For a few hours, he went blind. And I thought maybe it's just something to do with that. And that's what I was trying to convince myself anyway. So I waited a couple days. Again, this ruptured in my head again. And I know this because I'll tell you later. And so anyway, going on with the story, I end up having it happen again. I went home actually that day. I went home. I ate some chocolate because it helps headaches. I took some Excedrin because it helps headaches. After a couple hours, my vision came back. So anyway, one of the days my mom called, she really wanted me to go to the hospital. I'm like, I can't. My husband was deathly ill. He was like crawling on the floor to get to the bathroom after he got um, a flu shot, one of those flu shots with the for the H1N1 and all that other. And he got very deathly ill, deathly ill. So anyway, I finally had to take him to the hospital. But my eye doctor, I was going back to my eye doctor. I'm sorry, I skip around. My eye doctor, she told me that I needed to go see a neurosurgeon, and I'm like, a neurosurgeon? I'm not gonna go get brain surgery. No, I just lost my husband. I'm not gonna do that. My kids. I don't want to lose my life. My kids can't deal with that. She's like, well, if it happens again, I want you to go to such and such hospital, and she told me where to go. And she already warned them ahead. She tried to get me a rush appointment. Instead of 6 months, it was going to be 3 months. She said, if it happens, you go to OSU Hospital in Columbus, Ohio. So um, I was at the hospital with my husband, and my mom knew I was there with my husband, and my mom and dad came there to visit my husband, but also to convince me to go to OSU where my eye doctor told me to go. So I went to the eye doctor, of course, as you know. So she called ahead. She let them know if there was a problem, that it was probably what she couldn't tell me because she's not a real that kind of doctor. She's the eye doctor. She is a real doctor. She saved my life. But she saw blood behind my eye, so she knew. And my eye was bigger. That's why one eye is a little bigger than the other. It's from a bad thing that happened to me. But anyway, so my mom and dad come to the hospital, and they're like, "You need to go to the hospital." So I'm like, "Okay, but my husband's here. I need to take care of my husband." She said, my mom says, "He's safe now. Now you need to go to the hospital." And I'm like, "But mom, I'm okay right now." She says, "You're going. You're going." So I went. My husband at the time, he's like, "You're gonna leave me? You're gonna leave me?" My mom looked at him. She said, "You're fine. Now it's time to take care of my daughter." And he's like, "Okay." So we went to OSU. I'm fine. I'm like, okay. So I'm driving. They're driving. Dad's driving. I'm in the back seat of the car, and